Hello everyone. I'll be giving the general comments of the first draft of your research proposal submitted to me, and I returned that one last December 16. I think December 16 or 18, no, sorry, 18. So, looking at the general perspective of your research proposal, I look at into the spacing. The spacing is actually not according to what I have mentioned, that all must be double space. All must be double space. And then looking at into the first page, the title page, in my previous video, I emphasize how are you going to write the title page. What are the contents of the title page? I would like you to go over that video, watch that video, and then try to try to figure out what's the format of the title page, and then the table of contents. When we look at into the table of contents, although I did not mention that one in my video, but I told you to read different theses in the graduate school or in the library or even in the internet. And mostly, the table of contents, you're not going to say if the review of related literature is found in page 17, 18, and 19. So with page 20, then you are going to say 17 to 20. No. You look at only the page where you can find the review of related literature, and that should be the page number that you are going to write. You are not going to include all the pages that actually contain the review of related literature. So for example, if you're going to look at into the research methodology, and the research methodology is composed of 5 pages, page 30 up to page 35. You're not going to say research methodology 30 to 35, but you are going to say only to write in there research methodology that is actually in 30, no, page 30. And some of you have written page 30, you're going to have only the number. And then if you're going to read different literature, different theses, different dissertation, the page number is only the number itself, no word page. No? That's only a format in the Microsoft Word document. But in terms of thesis, in terms of dissertation, it's only the number itself. And I directed that it must be in the lower right hand corner. So review the video about my direction on how are you going to package the research proposal manuscript. And then I look at also into the naming of the chapter. Chapter 1, the problem and its scope. Some of you did not actually indicate also the title, the name of the chapter and the title of the chapter. The intention is not actually well specified in there. Remember, in most literature, when you write paragraph, it must be indented. So most of you, or no, some of you have no intention when you wrote the different paragraphs. So take note on the spacing, all double space, and there must be no wide space. So you might be able to look at into your paper that I have written that I have actually indicated too wide, because you are not supposed to have a wide space. All must be double space. No? All must be double space. Some of the margins are not actually well followed. No, you did not follow the margins that I have told in the video that I let you watch on how are you going to package the research proposal. And then looking into the tense also of the statement of the problem. Some of you have used the present tense, and some of you have used the future tense. But I noticed that some of you have a combination of present and then past. Some of you mentioned this study sought to. Why sought? You are not yet doing that one. You did not do that one. You are still planning to do it. So it's not actually in the past tense. So take note of that. No? And then in terms of tenses also, majority, I noted everything in the research methodology. There is no better understanding that this is actually a research proposal. So all of the tenses must be present or future. But some of you indicated descriptive method is used, or used, the study used, past tense. The study was conducted, the following result, the researcher sought letter of permission. The following statistical tools were used. Why in the past tense? All of those things that you have written in your manuscript did not happen yet. So all must not be in the past tense. That is still to happen. So it can be in the present tense or in the future tense. So take note of that. Majority have errors in that. And then figure 1, figure 2, figure 3, dapat you need to have a chronological numbering, no? Figure 1, figure 2, figure 3. And all of the figures must be below the figure. You are talking about table. If you are going to talk about table, so table number and the caption of the table heading in there should be on top. So table 1, blah blah blah, then the exact title of the table should be on top. And I noticed that some of the figures are not clear. No? So I marked they are blurred, not clear. And then I mentioned also no beauty. No beauty at all. When I look at your manuscript, I don't see any beauty. One thing that you are going to remember is that all figures must have beauty. I must say beauty. And that is actually part of your manuscript. In any kind of research proposals, even a final thesis or a final dissertation, all figures must have beauty. Why? Because if there is no beauty, then that will not motivate the readers to do the reading, and then it would not actually capture the interest of the reader. And in my case, as a practicing researcher, I would not read if the figure is not actually having beauty at all. And I mentioned in there, in my comments, not readable, not clear, because looking at your figure, I cannot read what is in there. I cannot understand what you are talking about. And there are figures that there are no caption. What is that all about? Take note nga, a picture tells many stories. But what story are you portraying in that figure? So, I would not be able to capture what you mean in that figure. So, all must have a caption or a title of the figure. And all of those must be below the figure. Looking into the format, we have the American Psychological Association 6th edition. Some of you have written the references already, although I did not require that one. But when you are going to do that one, all must be in the APA 6th edition format. And then I mentioned copied and then pasted. So what does it mean? Because I noticed that you copied that one and pasted that one in your review of related literature. Why I noticed that one? When I search that one into the Google search engine, I see the entire manuscript. And then another thing why I noticed that one, because when I read, there's what we call EBID. We don't use that one in the APA 6th edition. Then there's what we call page number. We don't use that one in the APA 6th edition. And one thing that I should also say is that, did you see? Have you read that page? So basically, no. And very obvious that you copy that one and pasted that one. The layout is actually very obvious na you copy that one and pasted that one in your review of related literature. There are actually copies in the review of related literature that what is being indicated, open bracket, then a number, then close bracket. What does it mean? That's another way of citing. Meaning, the open bracket, then the number, and the close bracket. For example, open bracket, number 17, then close bracket. So if you look at the references are actually numbered. So in the APA arranged in alphabetical order. But in that kind of citation, all of the reference are numbered, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. And how it is being numbered? Open bracket, then the number 1, then close bracket. The second reference, open bracket 2, then close bracket. Number 3, reference open bracket, then number 3, then close bracket. So forth and so on. If you have 100 references, so the last one would be open bracket 100, then close bracket. So if you cite that one in the manuscript, then you are going to mention open bracket 1, then close bracket. If your point of reference is reference number 1. If your reference is reference number 80, you're going to use open bracket 80, then close bracket. So very obvious na you copy that one. And another thing that you are going to consider is that you mentioned their literature that are too old. Although I told you, when we talk about studies, empirical studies within the last 10 years, within the last 5 years, if it is empirical. But when we talk about definition, when we talk about theory, when we talk about models, then you can use very old models as long as they are being used also. Now, let me consider about this. There's one literature mentioned in there, causes of failure. And the literature, it's not actually a thesis or a dissertation, just a plain literature, not empirical study. It's a theoretical one. No? It's actually a theoretical perspective. So what is mentioned 1993, 2003, 2002, 2003, 2001, and nothing follows. So what does it mean? Meaning too old. Why? You are studying that one, 2022, and you pointed out references way back 1993, 2003, 2002, 2003, and then 2001. So, what happened after 2003 to 2021 or to 2022? No one would believe you that your study is actually based on recent literature because all that you have mentioned are very old literature. And then another one, you mentioned about, let me go over my notes. You mentioned about, okay, so now difficulties encountered. Difficulties encountered. Well, that's actually related to your proposal because all proposals are actually talking about difficulties encountered. But what you mentioned in there, according to literature 1975, 1983, 1959, as cited by 2002. So, those are the difficulties way back 2002, 1959, 1983, 1975. But we are now on 2022. So, what you are going to consider is that you are going to look up into what happened from 2002 to 2022. So if you are going to mention that one in your proposal, then nothing would be interesting in that because you mentioned too old literature. So are they still problems encountered for now? Nga your literature cited 1975, 1983, 1959, then cited in 2002. So for me, no. So you are going to look at also receipt. So I am actually assuming you copy that one and pasted that one. You did not search latest literature. We have towards engaging mathematical culture and even not mathematical culture, any kind of culture, but your only literature is way back 2001. So meaning with the technology that we have, there's only one literature and that's way back 2001, nothing follows. So that is not actually acceptable in the review of related literature. There's what we call about instruction. No? The theme is all about instruction, but you have 2005, 2002, 2002, and then what happened from 2004 to 2022? So you mentioned too old literature. And you anchor your study in very old literature. So no one would actually believe you. Oh, maybe that's the reality way back 2001 or 2002 or 2004. But from 2004 to the present, maybe it's no longer a difficulty. Maybe it's no longer a problem. So that's what I'm going to look at. You can start with very old literature, but you are going to look at into what's happening from that old literature to the most recent one. Now within the last 10 years or within the last 5 years. So, what might an educator do? But the literature is 2002, 2000, 2004, 2005, then 2006. But we are now 2022. What happened from 2007 to 2022? There is no literature mentioned in there. So, if I'm going to read your proposal, your literature is not updated. So that's what you are going to consider. But most in there is that you're not able to summarize. You're going to summarize, you're going to read that literature, and then you are going to look at into how are you going to summarize that one, and then have that one in your review of related literature. I did not say copy what is in there in the literature, except in those literature in the sample model that are applicable to your research proposal. But when you read other literature, you're not going to copy that one. You are going to summarize that one, and then you are going to write that one in your own research proposal. In the sample model, I told you copy what is in the sample model if they are applicable. But you did not mention my name and the rest of my co-authors in the paper. No? But some mentioned that one as part of the citation. But majority of you did not mention that one as part of the citation. No? Especially operational definitions and all other things that you copied from the sample model. Remember, the sample model is actually from our research article. So when you transfer that one to your own literature, you're going to cite also me as the main author and the rest of my co-authors because you have read what I have written. And what I have written there is not being read by you. No? Those different literatures that I mentioned in there are not being read by yourself. Only those things that I have written, that we have written in our research article. So you must cite me and the rest of my co-authors as part of your citation. Okay? So take note of that one. So there are many things that I look at into your research proposal, and most of you did not get very good grades because I was not contented about what you did. I understand that you are still beginners in writing research proposal, but there are many videos that I let you watch, and then I let you read different theses, different dissertations as part of the assignment. Then you have to do it, because if you did not do it, then basically you would not get an idea how to write a research proposal, how to package your research proposal starting from the title page up to the last page. Except the title page is that I have a different format from a thesis or a dissertation. Some of you copied exactly the title page of a thesis or a dissertation, but that is not what I have directed. So I want you to review that video where I let you watch, that you are going to watch that one so that you can package your manuscript for your research proposal draft number 1. So I want you to read, to watch all of this contents in this video so that you will have a better idea on how are you going to revise your research proposal. So take note, what you write, what you have submitted, I'm after on the quality, not on the submission. So if you submitted without quality, then the grade has no quality also. So exert efforts, review all the videos that I let you watch, follow